Come on. It's not a weird seat thing. All right, guys. If you have lower back issues, I swear to God, I bought this thing to sit on, and I don't know the science behind it, but now my lower back stopped hurting. So maybe I'm an old man or something, but see, now my pelvic tilt is just in a good little format. All right, all right. How we doing? How we doing? Friday night. I don't know if you guys are on stream. Why are we inside? That's the real question. Let me pull this up. We posted a video today. If you guys saw the collab with Ravi. So we spoke about some sauce last week. If you guys haven't checked that video out, please go do, because I think it was a very good video. And then if you run a business, you will like it as well. All right, we're gonna jump straight into some sauce for you guys. Let me pull it up. One second. Let's pull up some sauce. Analytics. Yeah, the video is really taking off, man. Click-through rate, views. Wow, good for us. One day, 600 views. It might take off. I'm gonna pull up chat. Yo, I see a few of you guys live on YouTube. How we doing? How we doing? I'm about to pull up some stuff for you guys to see here right now. All right, let's get this party started. Screen with cam. Okay, we got a few of you on. Type in chat. Type in chat. How we doing? Good evening, wherever you guys are from. In Miami, it's 8:30. Instead of being outside, I am inside because I have not drank for 37 days since January 1st. I have not had a single sip of alcohol. And I think I'm probably going to do the entire year sober, just because, I don't know, I feel like I hit 30 and that was almost like a wake-up call for me, where like I was on a 6-month bender last year. Not actually 6 months, but it was definitely a very long bender. It felt like 6 months. And I said, if I do not lock in right now, I'm probably going to wake up in 5 years and be in the same place. And I was like, I do not want that to happen to me. What's up, G? How you doing? And so that's why I was like sometimes you need something to happen in your life. I feel like a catalyst is very important to just make you get on your shit. That's why I tell people all the time, like, one of the best things that can happen to you as a guy is if a girl breaks your heart. Because if they break your heart in high school and college, you enter a lock-in phase like you have never locked in before. Like, one of the reasons why I became successful in business was because this girl I was talking to, and she was basically my girlfriend, she decided to break up with me. And that kind of just put me into this whole thing of like, she actually, full detail, chose another guy over me. And that kind of made me just lock in. Like, when I say lock in, like, that was what was driving me in terms of just motivation, like not feeling like I was good enough. And in hindsight, I'm genuinely so thankful. Like if I ever run into this girl in the future, I would probably be like, thank you. But yeah, I think it's important. Like I know people who have gotten into some of the best shapes of their lives because of a breakup. So don't go actively trying to get your heart broken, but if it happens to you, it's probably a good thing. Patrick, how you doing, man? How you doing? What are you guys doing on a Friday night? Hopping on live. No plans? No plans for the weekend? This is a good one. People who were born in 2000 and 2005, what do you do for a living? Like, if I was born in this age range, this is like Gen Alpha, no? What do you guys do? You're growing up with AI. You grew up with social media, so you don't even know what life is like without social media. And anybody who's graduating right now, like if you're born in 2000, yeah, if you're born in this age range and you're graduating, you're cooked. AI is taking your jobs. So you actually are unemployed. It's like the equivalent of graduating college in 2008, entering the recession. Like people were not able to get jobs. So yeah, if you're born in 2000, 2005, genuinely, what are you doing for a living? I'm also very curious because people aren't going to college as much anymore. There's no jobs, no entry level jobs, and it's only going to get worse. So are you guys just not going to college? Are you people just living at home? And the life of a 2000 born. Pandemic at the age of enjoyment, AI implementation at the age of employment. Damn, that is brutal. Would have been me just a few years later. What up, Sam? Good seeing you again. This is crazy. Jeffrey Epstein emailing Satoshi Nakamoto. Dear Satoshi, I would be delighted if you could join me on my private island for a discussion on blockchain technology. Why would he need to talk blockchain on a private island? Please let me know your availability. Dear Jeffrey, go fuck yourself. Regards, Satoshi. That's a pretty good email back if you ask me. Like, how do we not know who Satoshi Nakamoto is? This man has still not been found and he created Bitcoin? I feel like nowadays, if you create anything of that caliber, you just cannot stay anonymous. So at least technology can find you. Do everything in your power to move to SF? What does this sound like? Let's see. Can you hear this? Can you hear this music playing? Yo, chat, you guys hear this or no? You can? Wow, it's good, it's good. Let me rewatch this.
What do you dream about?
I have a soft spot for San Francisco because I grew up in the Bay Area, not in SF, but in San Jose. And I can tell you, well, one, SF doesn't look like this right now. There's a lot of homeless people and just needles everywhere on the ground. But I can tell you why SF and this whole thing, I can tell you why people move to SF. the number one source of energy and innovation, the number one source of energy and innovation is hope. Oh, mute it now. Oh, shit. Good call. So I have a soft spot in the Bay. I grew up in the Bay Area. The Bay doesn't look like this anymore. In fact, there's a lot of homeless people in Needles. But SF and the whole Bay Area, Silicon Valley, is great for one specific thing. The world is driven by hope. People move to SF for the hope and dream of creating innovation, that next tech company, right? The young 20-year-old that moves there, that drops out of high school and college, they believe they're going to become the next billionaire and Mark Zuckerberg. And genuinely, that is probably one of the biggest motivators you can have early on. Like that, the ability to be young and dream and think that anything is possible is what makes the likelihood of something actually coming true. And so you see this in civilization throughout time. It is the source for SF. It is the source code for the USA. And the reason why the US was created and is the superpower today is because people moved to the US for the hope of creating a better future. And so hope is genuinely one of the biggest motivators. And this is why you see governments create cultures of hope, because it rallies a group around doing something that may not be seen as possible. And it actually is the reason why things end up becoming reality that may not seem like it can be in the moment.
Is that one of the challenges in writing a book about entrepreneurship or teaching a class on this is that there is sort of no formula, and I think science always starts with a number 2. It starts with experiments you can repeat, things you can do over and over again. But there's sort of a sense in which every moment in the history of business, every moment in the history of technology happens only once. The next Mark Zuckerberg will not be starting a social networking company. The next Larry Page will not start a search engine. The next Bill Gates will not be starting an operating system. And so if you're trying to copy these people, you're in some sense not learning from them. And so I think one of the really big challenges in teaching or writing about entrepreneurship is what can you say about being an entrepreneur at all when the key thing is always to do something new, different, that's not precisely been done before. And so the point of departure I start with in 0 to 1 is a somewhat indirect approach by asking a series of contrarian questions. The business question is, what great company is nobody starting? The more intellectual version of this question is, tell me something that's true that very few people agree with you on. And this is a fantastic interview question. It turns out to be quite a hard question. Even when people can read on the internet that you ask it of everybody who comes in the door, it still is a hard question. It's one of those unusual questions where if you know it's on the test, it's still hard. And it's hard not just because we sort of think that new things require brilliance or something like that, but because it's socially difficult. So if I ask you that question, if you tell me something like the education system is screwed up or our political system doesn't work very well, those are true answers, but they're not actually good answers because all of us already know them to be true. The good answers are ones that are somehow uncomfortable, that the person interviewing you does not actually want to hear. And I think we live in this world where courage is in far shorter supply than genius. And so it is sort of this, it is in a sense this problem of political correctness, properly understood, is this very deep, very, very broad sort of a problem.
Wow. Wow. These spit bars, bro. Peter Thiel, man. Basically, what he's saying is, well, one, that is an insanely good interview question. What do you believe about the world that most people isn't true? What you're doing there is you are testing someone's ability to have a very strong opinion on the world, willing to go against the grain of what society thinks is true, and being willing to put your balls on the table and debate when most people will have actually a different take than you. So it's essentially having a contrarian take. And if you really think about the people who end up changing the world, or the people who blow up on social media, they always have some sort of contrarian take, right? People like what's different or unique and what's new. And so too often we are kind of confined. It's just how our brains work. The human brain is pre-wired for survival. And survival means that you don't have different opinions than the people and group around you. Because if you have different opinions, you stand out. And if you stood out back in the day in a tribe, you would get castrated, or you would get kicked out of a tribe, or people would kill you. And so it's literally in our DNA to just conform. But if you can genuinely have first principles thinking and understand that the people who end up changing the world have a contrarian or unique take, it's the number one mindset shift you can develop. Thoughts on what Thiel has about distribution monopoly? I think what Peter Thiel has very well is specifically for people who are building a company that has not been done before. I don't think his principles apply that much if you are building a company that already exists and you're just building a better version of it, aka like you're just building some sort of simple cash flow business, you want to start an agency. But the principles where it's like if you want to build something next level, it does require you to apply everything he says. So I think it really depends on the industry, because you could also not do anything he said and still make, a $1 million a year business. Solana. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I mean, heck, man, if Solana can stabilize here, I could see this happening. Although I don't necessarily see it going to 400, maybe in a long term, but definitely retesting this double top area close to 300 or 250. Like if it holds here and we get another crypto bull run, Solana can get to 250 to 300, I'd say. So, but let's see what happens with crypto. The people are nervous, and it's there might be some short-term pain bear market before any of the cryptos take off. Patrick, let me know if I answered your question on that. Jeet, after how much profit a month does it stop making a difference in someone's lifestyle? Typical nice stuff. I would say once you spend like 30K a month, lifestyle doesn't really matter anymore, because you can have a nice place, you can have a nice car, you can eat out, and that 25, 30K a month really solves that, depending on even what city you live in. So yeah, I've had times where when I was younger and reckless, the most I was spending a month was probably like 60, 70K a month. And then now it's obviously a lot less. Like my monthly expenses are probably more like 30K a month. And I can tell you right now, there is no visible difference in lifestyle. You can live the exact same lifestyle and spend less. You're just doing it smarter, and nothing changes. And my guess is if I didn't live in a major city like Miami and I lived in a smaller city, that number could probably even go down to 15 to 20K a month. And so no matter the amount of money I continue to build and scale, like 30K a month for me is cap. Like if I'm spending more than that, I'm just being unrealistic is how I see it. Like that's kind of, you can live a top 1% life and just maintain and not push past that plateau.
To multiple payments throughout the month. So let's say your rent is $2,000, you pay $1,400 on the first of the month.
Rent now, pay later.
It's a new option for renters who are struggling to make
Rent now, pay later.
It's a new option for renters who are struggling to make the monthly payment. You can spread your payments out. Companies like Flex and Affirm are letting users break up their rent sums into multiple payments throughout the month. So let's say your rent is $2,000, you pay $1,400 on the first of the month, the remaining $600 on the 15th of the month. Typically, it depends on the.
Oh my God, we're cooked. The economy's fucked. If you are renting now, paying later, if this is not a recession indicator, I don't know what is. The market's gonna crash this year. What? Like, it makes sense for other types of purchases, but if the general economy has to pay later on their rent, what we are doing, if you think about it, is artificially propping up the economy until eventually you can't prop up the economy anymore. And guess what happens when it stops? The music stops, and it always stops. Everything collapses. So you guys better brace yourself for this next recession, because these are the things that people look at when they're in a bubble and they don't understand until 12 months later. They're like, oh my God, that was a clear recession indicator, leading indicator. This is how you know we live in this decade of the 2020s essentially the decade of the 2020s was essential. Yeah, when we look back in history, we're going to see that the 2020s was the decade where people got addicted to gambling. And specifically what that means is we have engineered technology to create false dopamine and hope as a society. Do you know why people are gambling at an all-time high? Not only because it's an addiction, but it's because the younger generation has no more hope of being able to get rich like our parents and boomers. People don't think they can buy a house anymore in their 30s. I think the average age for a house is significantly higher. And it's only going to get worse, by the way, because the boomers, the people who own the assets are the ones getting richer. The divide between middle class and the high end is more, this is the craziest it's ever been. And it's only going to get worse because when the stock market goes up, when assets appreciate, you have to own the asset to get that wealth. And so the middle class is getting squeezed. The younger generation is getting squeezed because AI is taking all of the entry level jobs. And so this is always the start of a story that gets painted for an eventual civil war inside of an economy. And for most of us, including myself, we've never experienced a civil war in the US, right? The last time was what, the late 1700s? It happens throughout history. It is the common economic cycle is when the wealth divide gets too big, the world power, when the economic wealth gets too big, the world power actually ends up dying from the inside, because you pit the people inside an economy against each other, and then that's how it crumbles because of the levels of wealth, because of the gaps of the level of wealth. I actually want to look this up. If the US look at this. If the US would eventually get in a civil war, what are the economic factors that can get there, and roughly how long do you think it takes? It always happens in histories. Civil wars almost never start because of ideology alone. Ideology mobilizes people, but economic stress creates the fuel. Persistent inequality, perceived unfairness, not just rich versus poor, but asset inflation, housing stocks benefiting one class. We saw that this past year. Wage stagnation for the majority. We're also seeing that. Young people feeling locked out of the future. This is happening more than ever with AI taking all the entry-level jobs. This is historically dangerous when effort no longer correlates with upward mobility. People feel the system is rigged, not just hard. This is why you see the tension between Democrats and Republicans, because that is the underlying argument right now. Empires and large states fracture when debt rises faster than productive growth. Governments rely on money printing, aka us currently, or financial repression. Promises exceed what the economy can sustain. This creates inflation, also early signs that we're seeing, and loss of trust in institutions. This is not new. It's just people don't want to study history to understand that eventually what will take down the US will be the same principles that take down every economic superpower in history. Declining living standards, especially suddenly. Slow decline. We're experiencing a slow decline right now. Sharp stocks unrest. Financial crises, inflation spikes, energy or food price shocks. Large-scale job displacement. We're seeing this now. I think this AI boom will have a trigger in unemployment. The AI boom will have a trigger in AI. AI will be a trigger in large-scale job displacement, which could be a trigger in a recession. Financial crises will trigger. I don't think we're going to have a civil war anytime soon, but eventually, it could be a few decades from now, it could be 100 years from now. It just always happens in history. The most realistic U.S. risk, if any. Civil wars take decades, not years. Yeah, exactly. Things are still forming right now. Yeah, it's very interesting to see. All right, let's see what else we got. Let's see. Screen webcam. Ages 20 to 25. This is why you can't afford to waste your life. Between 20 and 25, time is your biggest advantage. Habits formed now become your default later. Skills learned now compound for decades. Mistakes are still cheap, but wasted time is not refundable. This is 100% true. Heck, even if you're younger than this, like, I think high school is probably the best time to learn how to lift weights, get fit, because by the time you go to college and you're 18, you have all the habits of understanding how to work out. You're in shape probably because you worked out all of high school, and that's where your peak testosterone, you're growing. And then in college, what you're more worried about is how do I make a shit ton of money? And so, but if you don't have a good foundation for fitness, you're then going to figure that out later in life, and your health may have problems. So when I look back in hindsight, one of the best things I did was learning how to get in shape in high school. In college, all I thought about was making money. After college, all I thought about was how to make money. And that has been a great progression, because I honestly, when I was trying to make money, I did not have time to think about how to stay in shape. I just had good habits from high school. But I genuinely think the earlier you start, if you're watching this and you're in high school and younger, like, you gotta go now. Time fucking flies, bro. You guys don't understand. You wake up and a decade pass, and it's either going to make or break you, depending on how soon you're willing to start. Layoff watch list, February 6, 2026. Holy shit. I'm telling you guys, 2026, there's going to be a recession. We still got 11 months left in the year. And AI, at the rate it's learning and growing and scaling, oh my God. Recession indicator number 2. It's crazy how clavicular is blown up so much. You know, clavicular is a good modern day case study of creating a new. Clavicular is a good modern day case study of taking a new angle on a proven desire that people have, right? So let's say somebody wants to lose weight. Every couple years, there's a new diet and fad, because the fundamental principle of losing weight will never go away. For clavicular, he taps in to the natural human desire of being wanted, getting attention from females. And so what do guys do? They work out, they eat healthy to look good, but his new angle is looks maxing. How do you improve your looks so that you can get woman? And whether or not you like the guy or not, it doesn't matter. I think it's more so a good example of just fundamental business principle and science. You take a proven human desire, you create a new angle around it, and that's how you essentially blow up, whether it's in social media or launching some sort of business idea. Poly market. Seahawks are predicted 69% chance to win. So what does that mean? If you put in $1, what do you make? If you put in $100, 144. Yeah, I mean, I think Seahawks are gonna win. They're insane. Fed decision in March. Will Jesus Christ return before 2027? Spend $100 on this? Make $5? Imagine he does, you lose all your money? Shit. I think people can make money on Polymarket if you find really good risk-reward arbitrage. Wow, JD Vance is predicted to win. If Gavin Newsom wins, I think we might go into a recession. Great Depression. After seeing what's going on with California. I grew up in California, so it's a very beautiful state. I'm not political, but I mean, the crime rate's insane. SF, LA. It's kind of sad to see for such a beautiful state. What is the best business to start in 2026, Sam Putnam? Great question. The best business to start in 2026, some sort of AI-based business. It doesn't need to be any life-changing AI business. You could be an AI service-based business where you help businesses install AI and charge a premium. But I would go upmarket. I would see what you can charge when it comes to AI installation. I would charge 5 or 6 figures per contract, and that's how I would make a bag. Let's see what else we got. Trying to look at my calendar and update you guys what I worked on this week. I feel like I've just genuinely been so locked in this year. Like I'm working, I've worked 7 days a week. I don't think I've taken a single day off so far this year. And I have so much energy, like zero signs of burnout. I don't know. I think it's because I made the mistake in the past. One of the biggest regrets I have was when my business was doing good, I took my gas off the pedal because I was like, wow, business is great. Let me go have fun. Let me go party. And the interesting thing with business is it's never an immediate delay. The interesting in business is there's always a delay. So you take your foot off the gas and everything is still good the next 30 days, 60 days, but then 90 days it starts to go down, and 6 months in, your business is doing half what it was doing. This is what happened with me. And it's because of your inputs from 3 to 6 months ago. And so the reason my business is doing good now is not because I'm working 7 days a week right now. It's because of what I did 4 or 5 months ago. And I know exactly what I did for it to be doing good right now. And last time, I did not capitalize. And so this time, I need to make sure 4 or 5 months from now, my business is still doing good. And so I'm, if anything, more locked in than ever because I made such dumb mistakes when I was younger. And I'd be a lot richer if I didn't if I didn't take my foot off the gas. It's the concept of the hot hand. When things are hot, you got to double down. You guys ever play a pickup game in basketball and you just can't miss every shot from all around? Your friends are like, what's going on? It's flow state, it's the hot hand, whatever concept you want to call it. It is the same in business. It's the same in trading and investing. I know people who have just ran up an entire crypto bull run and made generational wealth, multi 8 figures, and then they never have to trade again. Versus this concept of slow and compounding growth. Like, I really believe life is really lived in sprints. Like, you can really go ham for 12, 24 months, make all your money, probably take a year or two off because the opportunity is not as hot then, and then do another 12 to 24 month sprint. And so I'm trying to actually focus more on that versus this sustained principle of hard work for a very long amount of time, when in reality, I actually think there's the 20% of your working time and career is probably where you're going to make the most money. So you should figure out when those opportunities are. Normally, they're when there's some sort of technological boom, right? So in the 2000s, that was the dot-com boom. Currently, it's the AI boom. Early 2020s, it was the crypto boom. You want to understand when these technological or sector booms happen, because that's probably where you're going to make that most money in 2 to 3 years. You go ham, you sprint, and then you take a couple years off because you front loaded your success. Damn, I was talking that whole time, sharing my screen. Fuck. God damn it. All right. Let me see what else. How can you get your brother as my mentor? I mean, ask me questions on here. You have me for free while I'm streaming. Ask away. Whoa. You're spamming in chat. Meet Kevin and Graham Stephan. Take years, get good at YouTube and OBS. Yeah, the streaming thing is not easy. You got to be locked in the entire time. But I genuinely enjoy the format. It feels like I'm just talking to a friend and learning, getting to know you guys, sharing my thoughts, knowledge. I'm trying to think what else happened this week. In terms of learning lessons I can share. Let's take a look at the crypto markets. Bitcoin bounced back. It hit support as predicted. If you guys were on stream, we literally said in this range it was going to bounce, and it did exactly that. I still think Bitcoin's going to go down lower. Like, this is probably the first bounce. It's probably going to retest this low and stay around there. So if you feel like you missed the opportunity, you didn't, because nothing ever just goes straight down and has a V-shaped pattern, unless it was 2021, which is more of an anomaly. Like, normally when you see bottoms happen, they consolidate and then it takes off. So more often than not. So even though it bounced here, it probably would come back and retest this area. Again, if Bitcoin keeps going back to 60, even tests 55K, or even just the low 60s range, like, that's my genuine opinion on Bitcoin is you're buying Bitcoin for 60 cents on the dollar. Ethereum down to 1800. I would say Ethereum's still probably good as well, but it can get down to 16, 1700. Solana is definitely more volatile and risky, to be honest. So I hope it bounces. I decided to start an editing agency, a niche which is different from yours. I'm 17-year-olds under parental control, so what am I doing is learning the skill of editing. Listen, you can learn the skill of editing, but it depends why you're learning it. You should be learning editing so that you can then learn how to use AI to mass edit. Because if you purely just look to learn editing right now, you are learning an outdated skill. Like, you're going to be replaced by AI. Like, eventually there will be a world where AI can edit 70, 80% of the way there, and there's just one person on the team that is doing final touches for creative direction, the last 20%. So yeah, make sure you're learning it and adapting with the times. Like, you should be learning how to edit with AI, not just simple editing. You don't have to worry about disappointing your parents. Why do you feel that way? What makes you feel like you're disappointing with them? Like, what's your ethnicity? Where do you live? I probably went through something similar. Asian parents are going to be disappointed at you no matter what you do. I kid you not. They're going to be disappointed. If you got an A, they're going to ask you why you didn't get an A plus. It's the most insane thing. But I can tell you this, that culture does build hard work. Like, you genuinely build a next level of discipline when it comes to just getting good grades and getting your shit done. Like, in hindsight, I wouldn't want it any other way. But if you are trying to not make your Asian parents disappointed, good luck. There's a lot of easier things in life. I'd rather go cure cancer. You mentioned, what up, Patrick? You mentioned you took off your sales calls for SN in the early days. Any recommendations on what increased closing rate? What did you double down on? What did you stop doing? Okay, here's how you get better at sales. And I would do it different actually now because you have AI. One, you need some sort of sales framework. So if you're doing B2C sales, there's a lot of B2C sales frameworks. If you're doing B2B sales, that's a different sales framework. Once you have a sales framework, you need to then take the calls for yourself and see what happens in the calls that you're like, well, I thought I could have closed versus the calls that actually did close. And so the only way to know that is to get reps under your belt. And so then how do you know what I did good in my calls that I closed and the calls that I didn't close? AI. Upload your transcript into AI and ask it to rate your call and script in terms of where to improve. And it's going to tell you, ask for the 80-20. It's going to tell you exactly what you need to do to improve in your sales call. And then based on that feedback, you might go back and look at your sales call framework and be like, actually, this framework led me astray. I need to adjust this. I need to ask these types of different questions in this section of my call. So then you improve your sales framework and then you take more calls. and then you run it through AI and you ask it again unbiasedly. And then you see, okay, how do I then now improve my sales calls framework? And eventually you do that enough, you're going to have a sales call framework that you know works because you've done it yourself. And then at that point, that's when you can hire your first closer. You train them exactly on the sales framework, and then they're going to be able to close because you built the system and foundation for them to be able to close a sales call. And that's how you scale a sales team from yourself to one closer to eventually a team where you're doing $1 million a month. You're welcome, Rizal, on short form content. Where did you see my short form content? Did you see it on Instagram or did you see it on here? Tips on becoming a better marketer. Right now, you're spending time copywriting, dissecting breakthrough advertising, and running more ads. Book recs would be cool. Here's how you become a better marketer. Spend half your time doing the thing and half the time learning and working on your skill. So you can't just become a better marketer reading copywriting or, dissecting breakthrough advertising, although that is an amazing marketing book. You actually need to test the theories and concepts you learn half the time and actually write the copy, and either you're putting money behind it or you work for someone who they're taking the risk and they're testing your copy, and you look and see at what your copy does. I just answered this actually with the sales guy. So then you look and see what the copy does, you look at the results, run your copywriting and your ad metrics through AI and say, hey, these are my current metrics in the funnel. This is my copy. Where do I need to improve? It might tell you it's your landing page. It might tell you it's your ads, it's your VSL or webinar. And then that's how you constantly get better. But the only way you can actually get better is by, in the real world, testing what the market wants. Because until you do that, everything is just theory. Am I doing the live at this time every day? I'm going to be going live a few times a week, so definitely hop on. I go live around like 7 p.m. Eastern, probably a few times a week, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe Wednesday. Yeah, if you take in 8 calls, Patrick, definitely do that. 8 calls is definitely enough to run your calls through AI. Go back, take more calls, do the same thing, improve your sales framework. And once you get to like 100 calls and every 10 calls you're doing this, you're going to have a nasty close rate. What do I do? What do you want me to do? I can do anything. Business, trading, degenerate. On the weekends only. Business and trading is responsible. Okay, so I analyzed crypto. Let me see if I want to check anything else. Oh, I do want to show you guys my UCLA portal. Let me see if I can log in. Yeah, I have 2 trading businesses. and a B2B business and investments. Oh, I have something good to show you guys, actually. I know exam research project. Damn, I was only rank 80. Okay, one sec. Ninu, yes. I don't myself, but my dad does. It's called Stock Navigators if you want to go check it out. So I built the business behind the scenes. He does it. It's his passion. He's honestly the best at it, unbiasedly, because I learned from him. I became successful, and I highly encourage it. I would put my money and name behind it, and I do. So all right, I'm going to show you guys my UCLA portal. UCLA was very interesting because damn, I actually got pretty good grades. All right, UCLA, spring 2016. I graduated a year early, by the way, because I hated college so much. I loved the social life at UCLA, but I hated classes so much that I had to graduate a year early. And my senior year, all I did was party. I literally partied like 3 or 4 times a week. And in hindsight, it was probably one of the best decisions because I got all the partying out of me. But look at this, man. A minus. Damn, that's unacceptable, honestly. A minus. What the heck? Well, the rest are A's. You know what was really good about UCLA is they would grade you on a curve scale. So what that means is even if you did well, but if everybody in your class does better than you, you're actually going to move down the curve and get a worse grade. And it sounds savage, but it really makes you competitive. And even me, I absolutely hated studying, and I would have to study for some of these tests, although I still did it the night before. I think every single test at UCLA I studied the night before. I didn't study more than that. And so I'm playing this game on handicap. But it made me lock in for the 12 hours leading up to the test. I would pull an all-nighter. And I would just... that if you want to get successful in life, like, you got to adopt the UCLA system. Make people compete against each other. There is no greater level of productivity than making people compete in a class. Look at this. Midterm. Oh, I remember I destroyed the class on this. Ranked 3 out of 140. I was ranked 3rd. The only 2 kids that got a higher score than me got a perfect score in the test. So I was like, fuck. But ranked 3 out of 140 in this class, I'll take it. Like, this would be the only reason I would study the night before, or else I'd probably flunk all my grades. And again, also, literally keep in mind, like, this is me doing this studying the night before. I didn't study. Like, a lot of kids would go to class and show up, and I would just wing it. Yeah, so shout out UCLA for creating this system. I don't know if UCLA still does this, by the way. I hope they have some way for you to see, like, your grades against other kids. Because that's so savage. Damn. A minus, A minus, A minus. It's unacceptable. Midterm 47 out of 50. A minus. It's honestly a miracle I got good grades doing the bare minimum. Like genuinely the bare minimum. I don't even know some of these classes I took. There was no AI back then. I would have to. I kid you guys not. There would be essays due at 7 a.m. and I would be at my computer at 1 a.m. I haven't started. And I would go get a Red Bull and I'd chug it. And I would genuinely condense a quarter's amount of work and studying into 5 hours of flow state. And I think if you can learn how to tap into that skill on command and do it every single day, you are going to become rich as fuck. Because, yeah. And I absolutely hated waking up early. But it's got to be done, you know? I probably got worse grades, I think. Senior year was easier for me. Damn, I got a B minus? What the heck? Oh my God. Look at this. Midterm, I got a 90. Final exam, I got a 61. I don't even want to click on this. That's embarrassing. Oh, rank 269 out of 289. You guys know how embarrassing that is? You know, I know exactly what happened here. I got cocky. It's not even that good either. I just didn't care. That was my issue. Like, I wish they had like a better competition in college where it's like actually related to making money versus class. Like, I did not enjoy studying. That's funny. Well, some classes I absolutely destroyed and others, eh. I wonder what it's like. Do I have anyone right now watching who's in college? What is college like nowadays? Like, genuinely, college was some of the most fun experiences in my life, and I hope every kid can experience it. Like, being able to party at a frat and live in Westwood and Los Angeles was genuinely life-changing. Like, living in a big city opened my eyes, and it really made me want to pursue more. But I didn't necessarily learn in the classroom, but outside the classroom, definitely. Ninu, it's day trading and swing trading, but more day trading. In terms of losing money, listen, I think it happens, right? But that's where you got to learn proper risk management. That's where you also need a better trading strategy and a good coaching and community that's going to keep you accountable to learning and getting better. Because, you know, I lost money initially when I first started day trading as well, but it's a process. I think it's more so keeping your losses controlled, right? If you lose a lot of money, it's poor risk management versus losing a little bit of money as you're learning is kind of just the name of the game. That's whatever you do, that's, you know, higher risk, high reward as well. We'll do that. If you want to start a business, you're going to lose some money. It's either money or time. You're going to lose a trade-off to learn the skills needed to be successful. My B2B business is called 3 Levels. It's just B2B consulting, like helping business owners scale. I do it for fun. Can I mentor you? I mean, I would go learn and mentor from my dad and the other millionaire traders in the community. Like, we have so many millionaire traders that have gone through the process and are successful. So, do I still day trade? I don't day trade, but I invest long term. Yeah, I've switched to long term just because the ROI is higher for me. Like, I'd rather just go in big on a trade and then just hold for a few years. But to start though, I had to day trade to make daily income. Once you, like, day trading, how I see day trading is it's great for daily income, but it's short-term wealth, right? Then you take that income, you compound, and then you put it into long-term investing and swing trading, and that's how you grow your portfolio. So day trading versus long-term investing or swing trading, they're building two different types of wealth. One is your daily income, that your daily income could be from your W-2 job or whatever it is that gives you daily income. And then once you have that, you need a long-term investment strategy type of play. No, we could probably sell to PE. Probably, like, it doesn't require him. We have so many students and people helping out just from being around. So do I hold long term with individual stocks or ETF? Both, Thomas. What's your goal with your business now? Just genuinely having fun. Like, if you want to make a lot of money and be rich, you actually just have to enjoy the process. There are years I didn't enjoy business and investing and trading, but if you can train your mind to love the process of learning, you're going to make a lot of money. Like, even right now, sure, if I look at, my portfolio or investments or business income and it goes up, I'm not going to lie and say I'm not happy. But I also wake up and enjoy because every single day I'm getting better at something. When I'm making content, every video, my goal is to genuinely just try and get better. Every short form video, every long form video, that's all I think about is how to get better. When it comes to my investments, some investments have made me a lot of money and some investments I've lost money. But then I just look at it and say, okay, what did I learn from this? What did I do right here when I made a lot of money? Let me keep doing that and getting better. Do I have a girlfriend? I want to introduce you to my daughter. I do not have a girlfriend, but you can introduce me to your daughter. Thomas. How old is she? Where do you guys live? Also, where do you guys come across me? Is it mainly on YouTube? Or how do you guys come across me? I'm sending my friend a photo because they're asking me, what am I doing? It's funny. Nice. It popped up. YouTube. What's up, Cole? How's it going? Ninu, you get a lot of Vietnamese people. Who else do you get that's Vietnamese? I feel like I'm like the only Vietnamese person on YouTube. What's the most money you've made ever in a single year, and what was your biggest purchase regret? Oh, you're asking good questions. The most money I've made in a single year between everything, like business income, assets appreciating, right? So that's not, even though that's not like liquid, it's still a net worth increase. I would probably say $3 million all in combined. Yeah. What was your biggest purchase regret? What was my biggest purchase regret? I don't think I actually have regret any big purchases. I feel like I've been pretty smart. It's a bad answer, but I'm thinking I genuinely don't have any, like the regrets I've had when it comes to purchases more so come of me making dumb business mistakes or hires and losing money in that. But I would say not in terms of like, yeah, I would say like I don't own a car. I drive a at least I used to drive in high school and I used to drive in college and after college a white minivan. Like I drove a 2007 Dodge Caravan. Let me pull it up for you guys so you can see. If you want to see what I drove around in, I can't make this shit up. All right, I can't make it up. You're gonna laugh, but it's true. This is my car. Look at this. You see this? This is what I drive on a daily basis. I don't have the car here with me in Miami. I don't have a car. But yeah, that's what I drove. I took a girl on a date once with this car and she never texted me back after the date. Funny story. I don't know because it was a car though. I think my game was just kind of bad. Got a few growth operating clients trying to build a system to help fulfill faster so I can take on more clients. Any tips? Yes, I mean, Cole, I think the bigger thing is when it comes to growth operating, you can only have so many clients, my friend. How you should be thinking about it instead of building systems to take on more clients is actually more so just going upstream, which is how can you find a client that can make you more money than having 5 clients? And then you just focus on that one client, right? So because the talent in that type of business for growth operating matters more than anything else. It's the 10x outlier. It's the 10x lever you can pull. So, and sure, there are ways you can automate, but my guess is you're doing the marketing and sales for them, right? Unless you're outsourcing sales. If you're doing the marketing for those businesses, you only have so much creative power, to be completely honest with you, unless you're hiring some top tier marketing talent. And if you do, either you're going to pay them an arm and a leg, or they're going to leave. Nice. You like the pod with Ravi though? Any feedback? Like what kind of content do you want to see more of? Can you manage both your studies and business at the same time? I could not manage my studies and business at the same time. The phases where I was studying and doing business, I was basically treating business as a hobby. What was the main traffic source that helped scale your business, and how much were you spending on marketing at its peak? I was running Facebook and YouTube ads, and at the peak marketing, I was spending 400 grand a month. So yeah, do the math. Why don't I buy a car? I don't leave my house. I literally stay at home all day, every day, weeks on end. Like someone asked me the other day, when I left my house, and I checked my calendar, and I didn't leave my house for 15 days. Like I did not step outside the premise of my property for 15 days. Do you know how crazy that is? People thought I was insane. And so if I do leave the house, I would just Uber, because, if I'm doing that, I'm going to dinner or something. What are some good investments for stocks right now? You probably got the inside scoop. I don't got no inside scoop. That's insider trading. But what's good? Let's see. Let's see what stocks are popping. if you believe in crypto long term, Coinbase is pulling back to a strong buy zone. This is not investment advice. This is just me doing market research. It's back in the area where people bought in the past. So this is a strong support area. Long term is in the 160s, which is, it's already there. 150s, 160s. So I mean, you can't go wrong with. Here's the thing with stocks right now. I think eventually the market's going to go into a recession this year. And so I'm actually stacking up on cash right now because I believe that's my hypothesis. I could be wrong, but this year specifically, I'm just focused on stacking cash because either it's going to come true and I'm going to know, when the confirmations happen. But if it is, great. I'm going to have cash and dry powder ready to go to buy high quality stocks or Bitcoin at, the lows. Or I'm wrong and I miss out on some wins. But right now, the potential upside to the potential downside in the markets and the economy, my gut feeling just doesn't feel good, and I prefer to just stick with that even if I end up being wrong. Why am I so bullish on crypto? I think it goes to zero. I think most cryptos will go to zero, Thomas. I'm bullish on just the top, I'm bullish on just Bitcoin, honestly. Like Bitcoin, I think, is the equivalent of digital gold. And so if that ends up being the case, then $100,000 at the bare minimum long-term target isn't that crazy. Which, if that is the case, the base case of buying Bitcoin at current prices for 65 cents on the dollar, to me personally sounds like a great risk-reward ratio. But I'm not bullish on all things crypto, by the way, only on the highly concentrated stuff. Yeah, Cole, that's focus on the offer, man. Fulfillment times and costs. I guess where are you, what's taking up your time when it comes to fulfillment of these clients? Is it because you have to create the ads and funnels for them, or what exactly? Like when it comes to solving constraints, you have to be able to properly define what exactly it is in your business that is taking up your time or requires automating, delegating, systemizing, because it's just a constant game of identifying what the constraint is, solving that constraint, and doing that over and over again. Why do I think a recession is coming? It seems a lot of stocks are really low undervalued. Which stocks are you looking at? I'm curious. Let's pull it up. Ninu, if it goes into recession, should you start day trading with us? Yes, 100%. But I think if we go into recession, you want to be ready with the skill set. Like, don't go learn when that starts to happen, because when the markets start to go into a recession, the markets are very volatile, and that's where a lot of the opportunity is in day trading. So if you want to actually go learn the skill properly, like go learn now, go to the website, watch the VSL, the video, and sign up and book a call with someone on the team. But if so, you want to learn now. You don't want to learn after the opportunity is ready to go. Cash and real estate, Thomas. I love both. I love stocks. I love real estate and Bitcoin. Stocks like Adobe and Netflix. Let's see. You cannot talk to me, unfortunately, but you can talk to someone on the team, and I promise you they will help out. And if for some reason they don't, I will connect you with someone directly on the team if you don't have a good experience, but I don't think that's going to be the case. So Just go to the website and click on free training, watch that video, then you'll fill out a survey and book a call. Adobe, Netflix, let's pull it up. Oh yeah, Adobe got cut. Adobe's in a good zone, actually. This is a strong support zone for Adobe. Again, not financial advice, but if there starts to be signs of life here, this is a good spot for Adobe. Yeah, there's support there at Adobe. Because this is a buy zone. This is a buy zone where it bounced back again. So very strong touches in this area. Again, though, whenever I look to buy in buy zones, you always look for confirmation. It's like you don't just go buying here. Like there has to be some sign of life. Like you need to see some sort of momentum and confirmation, and things start to switch it upside. Whether it's a candlestick formation, whether you see the momentum on the different indicators like MACD turnaround. Let's look at Netflix. Netflix has room to go, in my opinion. It has room to go down. I mean, it's still in a zone. You don't know, right? You need, again, same principles. You want to see signs of divergence, confirmation, some sort of price action, candlestick confirmation. I could see it going down all the way to this buy zone. What is that? This area. But again, even if it touches this, you know, you want to see confirmation, but Netflix can definitely get down into this $62 to $70 range ish. I just hired a funnel builder backend guy, still script all the ads. You gotta get memes in there. Yeah, Cole. You basically just need, if you think from a leverage perspective, you need 2 people on your team. One that's a savage at sales, that can you trust, that can do all things sales for you. One that can get marketing 80% of the way there, but you can also do that with AI. And that's how you build a team, right? It's like a leadership team. You need your right hand man or woman for each specific division. And in info or service, it's basically sales, marketing, and fulfillment. How much for my B2B consulting? Thomas, full transparency, it is very expensive, but that's also because I work with people who like are doing, I don't know, 100K plus a month. So like the ROI is there for them. If you're just starting a business, I probably would tell you to not pay me money. One, I don't need it, and 2, I don't want you to waste your money because I can't get you your money's worth if you're just starting it, right? But like if you have an existing business, I can look inside your business and most likely find a way for you to make more than what you paid me. So what do you think about doing sales call live on YouTube Live? You see the live call and then show up literally in the live. Is that crazy? I don't know about doing sales call live. I think that's potentially, isn't that like a breach of trust or something, privacy? How do you know you should hire a team for your editing agency? When you have so many clients coming through the door that you cannot fulfill and you need more people to help you fulfill on clients, that's when. Video. Bro, NVIDIA is at an all-time high. I mean, it's been at all times high, but you want to buy great companies at a discount, in my opinion. So to me, and listen, I could be wrong on this and it can go up, and I'm okay with that actually. But to me, this downside feels a lot more than the upside when it comes to Nvidia, especially since didn't Amazon take a hit today? So if the big companies start to pull back, they all pull back in order. Yeah, big red candle. Amazon's gonna pull back to this zone probably. 160s. 150s even. Potentially. These are just hypotheses, right? Like when it comes, here's the thing, when it comes to technical analysis, like I can have a hypothesis and I can also change my investment thesis depending on what ends up happening. Because let's say in the next few months, there's a different candlestick formation here and it confirms something to the upside and then all the signals point up. Like you have to be able, when it comes to investing and trading, to be willing to change your thesis when you are wrong or when information changes. And I think too many people are too fixated on being right, and that's why investing as a skill set or trading as a skill set is too tough for a lot of people, is because they care more about being right than what the market is actually saying. Tim, love your biz content. Thanks for dispersing. I left coaching professional basketball 6 years, where I found it. Nice, man. I appreciate you watching my videos. Trusted Cartage. Your mic sounds bad on full screen cam. Johnny, you know why that's the case?
Huh? What?
Nothing. We'll check later. Don't worry. All right, guys. I'm probably going to call it for the night, but I appreciate you guys for hopping on, staying with me. I basically spoke to everyone in chat, so thank you guys. I'll see you next week. I'll be doing and going live again.